Key terms. So here's the deal. Where this is going to be a fairly short module. There's a bajillion key terms inside of real estate in total, but in reality, there are probably 7 or 8 that you need to know in order to write an offer, right? In order to talk to a listing agent, in order to have an intelligible conversation about an offer that you'd be writing, these are probably the most basic ones that you'll need to know. So pre-approval is going to be, we already talked about this in the first part, but pre-approval is going to be, making sure that you're pre-approved for a loan, to get a loan to buy this house. So listing agent is always going to ask that if they're a good agent. They should ask, hey, are you pre-approved, right? Because you're just a random buyer calling them. They're probably going to ask you, are you pre-approved? And you're going to tell them yes, because you already have a mortgage broker. You've got loan pre-approval. You can send them, there's a piece of paper you can send them showing you're pre-approved. That one's easy. The next one is going to be, I feel like it's pretty common sense, but purchase price is how much are you going to be paying or willing to pay for the house, right? Should your loan get approved, obviously. But how much is your purchase price for the house, right? EMD is going to be earnest money deposit. So I guess I should write that out, but it's going to be earnest money deposit. Okay. So your earnest money deposit is really showing that you're serious about buying this house. Earnest money is literally just, on average, it's about 1% of the purchase price. So our $500,000 national average house, we're going to be putting $5,000 down for our earnest money, right? And that money, here's the ticket to that money. That money can absolutely be lost to this deal. The seller, should you back out for any reason, this is what's going to save us. We'll talk about it in a second. But should you back out for any reason outside of your contingencies, then the seller has the full right to keep that earnest money that you put into escrow, right? So this is money that you put down on the deal just to show that you're serious about buying. Contingencies are what's going to keep that money should anything not check out at the house. So your big 3 contingencies, I should put these, your big 3 are going to be title, because we want to ensure that title on this house is clear and that there's no liens on it or anything like that. The person has the right to sell the house and that they can transfer it to you, or it can be transferred to you. Title, and then your other big one is going to be financing. Hopefully you can read this because it's kind of small. But your other one's going to be financing, is going to be your second big contingency, right? That's kind of everybody's just waiting on financing to come through most of that 30 days of escrow. But then your third one is going to be inspection. So contingencies and number 7 kind of coincide because inspection period is a contingency, but we'll get to that in a second. The other thing is going to be your terms. So what kind of loan type do you have, right? So it's going to talk about, they're often going to ask, are you FHA or VA? And it's just because those types of loans have stricter regulations as far as the condition of the house goes. So it's a lot, sometimes it can be more cumbersome to do a transaction where somebody has an FHA or VA loan. However, you get way better terms on those types of loans. You get lower down payments, usually better interest rates, all these types of stuff. So it's kind of beneficial to go with those, but sometimes the listing agents can be biased towards people who have those types of loans. They won't say that, but they are. So they're going to ask you terms, and it could be, loan. They could be asking, loan or cash or whatever. Because sometimes if it's like a fixer house or something like that, they're going to add, it's going to be a cash only type deal, right? If you're an investor. Closing date is literally just going to be, hey, what day do you expect that you would be able to sign final paperwork and get title to close this transaction, your financing approved, everything is done and keys transferred, right? Closing date is often, I think we talked about it before, but it's going to be 30 to 45 days. That's if you're doing like standard transactions, loans, stuff like that. Cash stuff is going to be kind of as quick as you want, or as quick as I guess title can, do their stuff. Last is going to be inspection period. So inspection period is often, it's often 7 to 10 days ish, sometimes 14 I've seen. You can do 2 weeks, but ultimately it's just the period that, it's a period of time that you give yourself to get a general home inspector in there. if you want to do roofing inspection, foundation inspections, making sure that the condition of the house is in everything that you would expect for buying a home, right? Whether it's, if it's a fixture and you know that it's supposed to be bad, then great. But if it's, a home that you're going to live in and you're expecting it to be brand new or whatever the condition it is, then you want to inspect that, make sure that everything is in line with what you're thinking, right? And also the inspection period, the inspection is also for the bank, because the bank wants to know that the house that they're funding for you is in good condition and that's not going to fall apart tomorrow, right? So, sorry, it's a little hot, but the inspection, and then the bank is going to do, I should have put in appraisal is really number 8, because in a really, really hot market, people do away, and this is the dumbest thing ever, but people will do away with appraisal contingencies. And that's not good, because if you put down earnest money, let's say you put down your $5,000 earnest money, and you say, hey, I'll waive the appraisal, so the appraisal contingency. So if this house, let's say it's the $500,000 house, only appraises for $480,000, then I'm waiving my appraisal contingency, which means that if this house appraises for $480,000, but I want to pay $500,000, or I've told you and agreed that I'll pay $500,000, that means that $20,000 difference I'm bringing to the table. So you're agreeing to that if you waive appraisal contingency. So don't do that. It's dumb. Unless you have the money, you want it, it's really your dream house and whatever. But those are really, I would say, the eight key terms for writing an offer or talking to a listing agent about writing an offer. So we'll jump right into the next one.